Well, good afternoon and a very warm welcome to a soaked and saturated Friday here at the Tanamera Country Club's Tampines course. Timothy Lowe here. Wonderful to have your company for day two action at the KLPGA Tour's curtain raiser to the 2024 season. But unfortunately, just like yesterday, we're in the middle of a deluge of rain. State the obvious if you dare. That's what the weather report says. It's rainy. It's still a pretty warm 31 degrees Celsius, and the wind, well, coming out of the northwest, not really helping to break up the cloud cover that descended upon the Tampines course just about an hour ago. Play was suspended. 108 players in the field this week, 9 different nationalities represented, the bulk of which you can guess coming from South Korea, but strong representation as well from Thailand, Malaysia, Singapore, and beyond. Patty Tavatanakit, the big star draw coming into the week. She went out in the afternoon session yesterday. Unfortunately, had to come back bright and early at 7:30 to resume her opening round. Eventually, Patty posting a round of 67 when all was said and done. And then a quick turnaround for the Thai. Went back out again, needing to get her second round started. That was a birdie at the 14th. She would add another here at the par 4 15th. Patty turned in 35. Lovely approach there to the par 4 and rather soft conditions. Ideal for scoring, really. The afternoon starters on day one with the good side of the draw. That one curling in for a birdie, her 5th of the day. Unfortunately, would drop a shot at the par 4 17th, but still 69 leaves Tavatanakit very handily placed going into the weekend stages of this championship. And this was that 17th hole, just not getting enough purchase on that to clear the little ridge. It splits the screen, and what you're going to notice around this Tampines course, if you're on the wrong side, if you're in the wrong section of some of these greens, well, putting can be a problem, as Patty found out here. Yeah, took the hard part of that. Cozied it up close, but there are no gimmies around this Phil Jacobs designed Tampines course. A bogey for Patty. Beg your pardon, she started her second round on the back 9, so that got her back to 2 under par for her round and 7 under for the championship. So made the turn in 34, got round to the front 9 of the golf course, parred the first, and then this second hole, a real beast, demanding driving hole. Really plays into the hands of the longer hitters and the great ball strikers like Tavatanakit. Great little mid-iron in there to set up this birdie opportunity, and one that she would take. Looking for her 3rd win in 4 weeks is the Thai, former Rookie of the Year on the LPGA Tour. Wrong side of the slope at the tricky par 3 4th, just undercooking that pitch shot, leaving herself a fair amount of work to do. Unfortunately, that one not finding the target for Patty T, so a second bogey of the day. The former winner of the ANA Inspiration, now known as the Chevrons Championship, major title on the LPGA Tour, but she would bounce straight back. Remember, found this par 5 in 2 yesterday. And she would do that again on Friday. That was an eagle opportunity sliding by, but another simple 2-putt birdie, taking Tavatanakit up to 8 under par. Quartet of pars to end her second round. So she'll sit at 8 under par going into the weekend. Did have an opportunity to extend that to 9 under, but unfortunately, putter misbehaving for the girl from Bangkok. Still 2 rounds in the 60s, your pre-tournament favourite, living up to that billing. Currently 8 under par, good enough for a share of 8th. Then, well, a sight we have become all too familiar seeing in this part of the world. The hooter going and a suspension of play for the third time, in fact, this week. Play was halted right around 2:30 yesterday, so delaying progression of the first round. Players did get back out on the golf course at 4 o'clock, but play was suspended at 6:55 p.m. local time Thursday evening, not due to darkness, but due to another approaching thunderstorm. Round 1 restarted at 7:30 this morning. Got through a fair amount of golf before right around 3 o'clock local time. Hooter went again, a deluge of rain. I mean, look at that. You can't even see that 18th fairway. Such was the state of affairs just about half an hour ago. Course is saturated and flooded. Adrian Thung and his team at Tanamera Country Club going to do everything they can to try and get that course back into play, into shape to play. But for now, no further golf. Once again, we're in a weather delay here at the Hana Financial Group Singapore Women's Open. And unfortunately, as Mighty Mouse, the weatherman, is going to tell you, things aren't looking much better in the future. You see that big cell developing right over the eastern part of Singapore where we are this week at the Tanamera Country Club, not too far from Changi Airport. Not looking good for any more live golf in this second round. Opportunity for some of the players to catch a little bite. There is 18-time tour winner Park Min-ji passing the time. She was in one of our featured groups for this afternoon alongside Natakrita Vongtavila and Kim Min Byul, who really struggled on day one. Under 75 for last year's Rookie of the Year. You can see her there in the red. Being told that the storm will pass in about half an hour's time, but the big question is, how are we going to get that golf course back into playable shape? Saw it a little bit earlier on, a lot of water starting to pond in the fairways and a couple of low-lying spots in the greens. But yeah, I promise you, we'll see some live golf at some point over the next 3 days. It's just not going to be for the foreseeable future this Friday afternoon. Keep those fingers and toes crossed, folks, and pray that this rain goes away. Well, if you're just joining us, hoping to see some day 2 action from the second Hana Financial Group Singapore Women's Open. Unfortunately, I must be the bearer of bad news once again, because as you can see from your screens right there, the course is absolutely soaked. Big thunderstorm rolled in just over an hour ago at the Tampines course, and, well, it is thoroughly soaked and saturated. So play was suspended just past 3 p.m. local time. The morning starters, well, they're pretty much done and dusted. And if you want to know what the state of affairs at the top of the leaderboard looks like, there you have it. Kim Jae-hee, delightful round of 66 yesterday from Kim. She's currently 4 under par with just 2 holes left to play, and she's finishing on the easier side of this golf course, 8 and 9. The amateur, Oh Soo-min, well, she's put together some fine golf. But why don't we entertain you with some earlier coverage from this morning's session while we wait for this rain to pass. I'm not going to be entertaining the thought of going for this green in 2. Park Ju-young, the defending champion, is trying to leave it handy into this par 5 for her 3rd shot. Coming off her first bogey of the day at 4. Still, it's been a productive day at the office. 3 under the card for Park. Tear here. Another birdie for her. She gets herself up to 11 under. 3 clear of the amateur. Oh. Well, 24 hours ago, Tavatanikit, 3-wood off the tee, and a 3-wood that scared the living daylights out of Hwang Yo-min and company ahead on the green. That found this par 5 into 2 big hits for Tavatanikit, set up an eagle opportunity. She would go on to snuggle that one down close and walk off with a pretty straightforward 2-putt birdie. It's a 516-yard hole. You're hitting a 3-wood off the tee and still attack it too. Such is the power of Patty T. Does lightning strike twice for the tie? Almost in an identical spot. Oh, she likes it. Oh, doesn't she just? Keep on going. It's even better than the shot yesterday from Tavatanikit. That's absolutely sublime stuff from Patty T. These are your featured groups in the morning section of the wave. Choi Rim alongside Chen Yi-sung and Singaporean stalwart Amanda Tan, first Singaporean to win on the China LPGA Tour a couple of years ago. Mada Som, winner last season in the company of Hong Ji-won, double major champion, and Park Ju-young, who won her first KLPGA Tour title in her 279th start last year at the Daibo House D Open. Jung Yoon-ji, Hwang Yo-min, and the Thai sensation Jaravi Bunchan teed off at 9:30 this morning, and just behind them, our featured group yesterday and, well, today, Park Ji-young, Lee Ye-won, last year's Player of the Year, and Patty Tavatanikit, highest ranked competitor in the field this week in Singapore. They got their second round started a little bit behind schedule at 9:40 a.m. local time. Tee times were pushed back about an hour and 10 minutes with the delay of play caused by the thunderstorms yesterday, and Hwang Yo-min has been on an absolute flyer. Disappointing round yesterday for Yo-min, a 73, but 4 birdies in her last 6 holes on her back 9. Birdies at 1 and 2, and that almost an ace at the 6. She's going to have that to get to 8 under for her round. What a difference a day makes. Year one. See that pin on 5, cut 7 paces from the right edge. Just got to make sure you're right of that little spine. Sort of protrudes onto the front of the green. Currently flirting with that projected cut mark of even par is year one. But a birdie there is going to make her feel a little bit more comfortable. Remember, she's finishing on the slightly easier side of the golf course. 7, 8, 9, a lot easier to tackle than 16, 17, 18. Now across to 6 and Jung Yun Ji. Open with a round of 70 yesterday. Picked up 3 birdies already this Friday morning. Can she keep it going? Pins on just 7 paces. On the right hand side of this green. Oh, how about those 3 tee shots? From Jaravi Bunchan, Hwang Yo-min and Jung Yun Ji. You figure at least 2 of them are going to make putts for birdie. Now back to Ji Young. 989 million Korean won collected last season. 3 titles, including her first major at the KB Financial Group Star Championship at Incheon. And you think that's going to be a pretty much guaranteed birdie 4 as she did yesterday on this 5th, which did play as the easiest hole in the Tampines course for the opening round. Championship leader by 3. Kim Jae-hee just out of the left rough here at 9. Pins in that front section, so even if you're 10-15 yards short of the green, it's not too difficult. But what you don't want to do is go long. Could be some problems there for the tournament leader. No easy 2-putt. So, Patty T sizing up this eagle putt. Dominant in her victory at the Aramco Ladies Saudi International in Riyadh. Had to fight hard for that second LPGA Tour title at the Honda LPGA just a fortnight ago. Good finish last week at the HSBC Women's World Championship. You have to feel she's running on fumes at this point. Winning takes a lot out of you. Traveling as much as she has takes a lot out of you. And to her eternal credit, she's here to win. She'll be the first to tell you that. Not going to be an eagle at the 5th, but you feel it's going to be a guaranteed 2-putt birdie as we jump up to Jung Yun Ji. For a birdie here, you've got to be careful with this. It really wants to get away from you if you don't hit it with enough conviction. Just tried to ram that one straight, and I've seen that a lot from Yunji through the years. Excellent iron play creates a lot of opportunities, but a bulky putter are the main culprits of why she hasn't won more than she has. Just that one title coming 2 seasons ago at the E1 Charity Ladies Open. Now, year one, to just give herself a little bit of breathing room. Going into the last couple of holes. Birdie look here. Should want to move a fraction to her left. Stayed straight on her. 74 yesterday, left her scratching her head. She's picked up a couple of shots around the turn, but right now it's teetering on that cut line. An even par. Jaravi Bunchan. Hopefully would have learned from Jung Yun Ji's putt. This one's going to be started just inside right half. And that's 3 birdies on the bounce for Jaravi Bunchan, who's all of a sudden sprung into life and got herself inside the top 20. Such a steady customer is Park Ji-young. It's another solid birdie. It takes the defending champion inside the top 10 at 5 under par. Go up ahead to what looks like the par 5/8. Jun Yi-sung coming up the hill. Flag as it was yesterday in that front corner, or the front section of the green. A lot easier to throw a few darts in there, but it's probably a 6 out of 10 there for Yi-sung. Patty to just tidy things up here. Okay, up into a share a second with Osu Min. 4 holes left to play, and you feel she'd be odds-on favourite to pick up at least 1 shot in that closing stretch. Year 1, what a season she had last year, coming off a stellar rookie campaign. Saw her win Rookie of the Year honours in 2022. Bagged a bunch of victories and 4 runner-ups last year, and 1.4 billion Korean won in single season earnings. How's she going to top that in 2024 now to the 22-year-old who will turn 23 on Sunday? Right now she's in pole position to give herself the best birthday present. Putting from the wrong side of that ledge. This one should kick right pretty hard off that slope and work downhill away from her. Settle, settle. Really almost impossible to have that putt come up short. So work to be done for Jae-hee to sit at 11 under par at the halfway mark. Tanatanakit. Really, this should only be a wedge for Patty T. Maybe a 9-iron. Playing about 5 yards uphill. You just can't see the base of this flagstick, obscured by that big greenside bunker that you're going to have to come up and over to get to today's pin. We certainly have softened up considerably. We did have a lot of rain yesterday and a little bit of it overnight. So the players who started in this side of the draw, obviously with a huge advantage. Pretty calm conditions at the moment around the Tampines course. 2 courses here at the Tanamera Country Club. This Tampines course hosted several big championships over the last few years. A couple of Asian Tour events, International Series Singapore and the Singapore International, and of course the inaugural Hana Financial Group Singapore Women's Open at the end of December 2022 that this lady left the Lion City with. It was a 36-hole rain-shortened edition. Just a little deep into the 6, but no harm done for Park. Okay. Twice a runner-up in 2023 at the Daibo House D Open and the S-Oil Championship. Jae-hee were a par at the last. Well, it does look like that rain's lightening up at the moment around the Tampines course, but unfortunately still electrical activity up top, unable to get the players and caddies safely out back onto the golf course.
With a view to hopefully restarting play shortly after 5 p.m. We will give you an update in 20 minutes. Okay? Thank you.
I heard it there from Club General Manager Elliot Gray. The plan is to get them back out there just after 5 p.m., which is good news, obviously, but much like yesterday, unlikely we're going to be able to get all 108 players through 36 holes. Just the logistics of trying to get players out there. You have to be in position to restart at 5 o'clock. So really, you think they'd be getting into the transport, the golf carts, the vans to head on out to their respective positions right around 4:45, 4:50. As we continue to keep a close eye on the storms that have plagued us throughout the course of this championship. But the signs are good that we are going to get some live golf happening in right around half an hour, provided the weather situation does not deteriorate any further. So fingers crossed we get back out there sooner rather than later. It's a third weather delay at this year's Singapore Women's Open, and they don't get any easier.
안내 말씀드리겠습니다. 16시 30분에 낙뢰 경보가 해제되어서 16시 50분까지 경기여분들이 코스 확인을 하겠습니다. 그리고 16시 55분에 선수분들이 이제 버스와 카트에 탑승을 해서 출발을 하겠고요. 17시 15분에 재개하는 것을 목표로 준비하겠습니다. 17시 15분 재개입니다. 다시 한번 안내드립니다. 16시 30분에 경보가 해제되어 16시 50분까지 코스 확인을 하고 16시 55분에 선수분들이 밴 또는 카트에 탑승을 해서 출발을 하겠습니다. 그리고 17시 15분에 플레이를 재개하도록 하겠습니다.
Well, still in that weather delay that plagued us since we got on air just about half an hour ago. It's bothered the players at Tanamera Country Club for nigh on 90 minutes now. But we are getting reports that perhaps there is a possibility that we could get back out the golf course in just about half an hour's time with the resumption of play. And once again, fair play and full credit to Elliot Gray, the general manager here at Tanamera Country Club, Adrian Tung and his standout team of green staff who have worked very hard to try to get this golf course back into shape where we can go out and resume day 2 action. There was some of these fairways were very heavily waterlogged, big puddles forming on the greens and the fairways, but it looks like we might be able to get back out shortly. So fingers crossed that Jihan Sol and company will be able to have another fair crack at the Tampines course, which really will now be rendered fairly defenseless with the softer conditions and obviously ball in hand this week. Playing preferred lies due to the wet conditions of the fairways and surrounds. But yeah, certainly signs are, wouldn't say good, but optimistic that we'll be back out the golf course in about 20-25 minutes time. It's just something that players will be expecting and mentally prepared for when you do come to this part of the world and play. We're only 1 degree north of the equator in Singapore, so you do get a lot of tropical rainstorms and some pretty intense heat as well, and it's always humid around these parts. I've called Singapore home for the better part of the last 33 years, and you know, 2 distinct seasons here, hot or wet. Unfortunately, it's wet right now at the Tampines course. That's such a disappointing way to finish for Kim Jae-hee. It's going to be a bogey at the last. Still a very solid round of 68 for her. She sets the halfway lead at 10 under par. Can anyone catch her as we head into Saturday? Kim Min Sun, 7. 5 under for the championship. Made the turn. Par 3, 4th. In on that front left-hand section of the green. And that could start to feed around. Ooh, watch this. This could get close. Excellent tee shot there from Kim. Outside birdie opportunity for Yewon at the 6th. Slightly downhill. She'll want to creep to her left if it's got the pace. Settles for par and still perched precariously on the projected cut line. At the 8th, Chun Yi-sung. Birdie here. Clatters that one into the flagstick. Down she goes for another birdie. That is a tidy scorecard this Friday morning. 7 under par with just the short par 4 9th to play. Park Ji-young coming down the hill from just past the pin. Chance to take a step closer to Kim Jae-hee's clubhouse target. Scared the right edge of the cup, but will remain above ground. Som picked up a breakthrough KLPGA Tour title at Sky 72 Golf Club in Incheon last year in a playoff. Yeah, well done. Good birdie there for Ma. Up to 5 under. Now, missed a putt of a very similar range yesterday on this very green. She's going to want to move to her left for Patty T, and also coming slightly downhill. Came straight left off the putter face. Almost a carbon copy of how she played the hole on day one. Great tee shot, suspect stroke, just a 3. Now Kim Min Sun 7 after that delightful tee shot at the 4th. This to convert. Ooh. You don't have to see the ball interact with the hole to tell you that that did not drop. A real squandered opportunity there for Kim as Park Ji-young looks to just clean things up. And her victory here at the end of 2022 really set her up for her best ever season on the KLPGA Tour, finishing 3rd on the money list and the points list. Out to the 9th. Fairway safely found for Chun Yi-sung. We know you don't want to be long here into today's hole location. Just keep it underneath the hole and a little bit right if you can. There's a big bunker on the left-hand side of this green that must be avoided. That's well done. Good use of the contours. Chun Yi-sung has given herself a look to get up to 8 under par. Birdied this hole yesterday, and that was thanks to a big tee shot for Tavatanakit. Pretty wide target. Fairway bunker on the left-hand side, not in play. She can cover that easily with her length. Let's give you a sense of how soft these fairways are. That ball is pitched backwards. But safely on the short stuff for Patty T. Now, hot hand on the golf course on day 2. This belonged to Hwang Yo-min, who's 8 under par for her round. 7 under for the championship. And now has this to get to 9 under for her day. Just wandered a little right there for Hwang. Being told that was actually a putt for par. So Hwang Yo-min just taking a step back with a drop shot there. Now Ji-young back on the tee. If possible, you need to keep this down the right half of the fairway. Pins on the left section of the green. And anything down that pipe will do for Park. Such a good driver of the golf ball. Really solid all-round game from the 26-year-old Park Ji-young, and I'll be very keen to see how Lee Won's golfing career progresses over the next decade or so. He shot to prominence with some great playing on the Dream Tour in 2021, which got her onto the KLPGA Tour in 2022, and all the rest has been history. Doesn't like it. That one heading a touch too far left. Okay, skirts that fairway bunker and gets a friendly kick. So that's a good break for year 1. Almost impossible to get to the green if she had found that bunker. Just looked a little out of sorts in this season opening event. The reigning player of the year. Now, last year's Korea Women's Open champion Hong Ji-won having a rotten start to 2024. 4 over par for the tournament. Looking very likely like she's not going to see any weekend action here at Tanah Country Club. 2 tour titles, both of them majors. The Hanwha in 2022 and last year's Korea Women's Open in a thrilling 3-way playoff at Rainbow Hills with Kim Min-byul and this lady, Ma Da-som, who really had one hand on the trophy through 70 holes. bogey finish to end up in that playoff. It's just really target practice with wedge in hand for these ladies. Really throw darts out there to these accessible pins. Now across to the other side of the golf course and finishing up on the 18th hole, Lee Soo-jin 3. Just past the crosswalk with her second, so just a little half wedge into this green. Oh, is that going to come off the slope? Come on down. Come on down. Just greens aren't quite quick enough where that was going to be able to work back down to the hole, but still an outside chance for a closing birdie. You see these enormous greens at the Tampines course. I mentioned at the top of the show, it's so important to find the right section of them, because you could hit 18 greens in a round of golf here, in regulation that is, and still walk off shooting over par if you're in the wrong sections of them. There hasn't been a hotter player in women's world golf over the last month than that lady on your screens right now. 12 months ago, you really wouldn't have seen that from Patty Tavatanakit. Just lost in the golfing wilderness. Confidence was shot. Missing cuts week after week, and to her eternal credit, she worked herself through that slump. She put in the hours. She found her dedication and love for this great game of golf, and her patience and perseverance are now being rewarded. 2 wins in the last 3 weeks for Patty T. Park Ji-young coming out of the middle of the fairway. That red dot's 140 yards to the front edge of the green. Pins about 16 paces on. It's a shot that plays right around 156 yards, but with the heavy, humid air that we've got this Friday morning, just feel like that's playing closer to a 160 number. Don't really have to worry about the ball bouncing or releasing on too much. These are fairly soft. Only 7 birdies recorded so far on the 7th hole today. Playing as the 5th hardest hole out for the second round. Nicely done. Got to find that left-hand section of the green, the high point of that 7th green, so you have a slightly easier birdie putt. Now, back up to the 8th, and Park Ju-young. Talk about really good comebacks. She was 4 over par through her first 5 holes yesterday. Eventually shot a round of 70, and my word, Park Ju-young, that's another birdie. She gets herself up to 6 under par, the 34-year-old veteran. Now, year 1. Left half of the fairway. It's a pretty skinny area where she can pitch this ball to that left flag. Don't want to leak this one out right. There's a slope that'll feed it away from the pin. Oh, goodness. It's almost one-hopped that, but she will be delighted with where that's come to rest. Yeah, still no gimme this. Look at the amount of break that Jenny Sung's got to allow for this. A birdie look at 9. It's got to be hit with conviction. Yeah, really well holed. Never easy, those short putts that move a lot from left to right. 3 birdies to close. That is a very good day at the office. A 67. Patty off a slight uphill lie. You want to make sure that you drive your weight onto your lead foot. Don't want to get that club behind you and stuck. Yeah, it's just going to take that little runoff finish left of the green. Going to be a little awkward for Patty there, short-sided at 7. Now, Madasom for her birdie. Yeah, solidly done for Ma. Birdies are there for the taking here on day 2. Tavatanakit's really raced up to that green at 7. Now, does she want to fire this into the bank? Try and get it to kick onto the green, or is she going to try to play it on with a bit of check? Went for option A, and option A indeed was the right play. Good touch there. Young. We're at 9. Can get it close. Just throw it past the flag. Use that slope. Just like that. When you think about the fact that she was 4 over through 5 yesterday, she could be leading the tournament right now, Park Ju-young. She knows a thing or two about tenacity and resilience. Now back to 7. The birdie look for Park Ji-young. Going to be slow coming up that hill. Yeah, you were watching highlights of play from earlier on this Friday before the heavens open and the course got soaked. Players were being told are making their way out to the golf course to get into position, expecting a restart sometime around 5:05 p.m. local time. And as it was yesterday on Thursday, we're going to try and get as many holes completed as possible before the inevitable 7:30 a.m. restart for the conclusion of day 2 tomorrow morning. We'll have to do a quick redraw and send the players back out for day 3 action.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I know everyone is very eager to get back out onto the golf course and play as many holes as they can. Unfortunately, we're not in a position to get you on the golf course yet. We please need you to bear with us. We need a little bit extra time. As soon as we're ready to get you on the golf course, we will. Thank you.
Oh dear, didn't need to hear that one from Elliot Gray, but you can understand, certainly with the amount of rain that the Tampines course received over the last 2 hours, perhaps a couple of spots still requiring the attention of Adrian Tung and his team, so not going to get them out the golf course just yet, but the wait will go on for these ladies just hanging around the clubhouse. It's so tough to try and stay focused, try and keep your head in the game during a weather delay like this, but you heard it from the general manager himself. Is still not in a position to get players out on the golf course, and unfortunately that means live action from day 2 will have to wait just that little bit longer. Well, a little bit earlier on, we were hopeful that we might be able to get play resumed this second round at around 5 o'clock, but just a couple of moments ago, General Manager Elliot Gray was keeping everyone in the clubhouse informed that some areas of the golf course still required a little bit more attention due to the deluge of rain that has befallen us this Friday afternoon. So not quite ready yet to get players into transport, into golf carts and shuttles and back out to the golf course. So the fleet of golf carts just parked in front of the clubhouse will have to wait just a little longer before they see any further action. And it's always frustrating for players and staff. It's a real patience game, especially when you've got a weather delay like this to contend with. And you think for the likes of the contenders, the Bang Shin Sills out there, Bang picking up an early birdie, who led coming into today, looking for some momentum, trying to build some momentum with a soft defenseless golf course, just being forced to sit, wait, then have to get warmed up again, stretch out, and try to get yourself into that mindset to go attack a golf course that you know players in the morning wave have certainly attacked and yielded some great scoring results from. Think about the very solid rounds that were played or posted in this morning wave. Huang Yo Min with a 9 under par round of 63, Jenny Sung 67, Kim Jae Hee recording a 68 to leave her as your current clubhouse leader at 10 under par. And this course is ready for the taking, but no one can take it yet because of the weather. A couple of brave fans starting to make their way out back into position. Maybe they know something we don't. As I can tell you, that's certainly not the way to the car park. There is Bang Shin Sil. Third on the Rookie of the Year points race last year. Didn't get her card through Q School, but a couple of very solid early season finishes. Got her special category of membership on the KLPGA Tour last year, and she would pick up a win at the E1 Charity Ladies Open to get a 2-year exemption onto the KLPGA. Opened with a 65 yesterday, no bogeys on her scorecard. Just picked up a birdie at the par 4 third before play was halted right on 2 hours ago. Think about some of the players that still have 17 holes to play. Soyeon Jung, 17 to go. He's coming off a par at the first, company of Kim So-hee and Chen Sing Tong from Singapore, who qualified to tee it up in the LPGA's HSBC Women's World Championship last week at Sentosa Golf Club and got to play the second round, if memory serves me correctly, alongside her childhood hero, Lydia Ko. What an experience that must have been. Lee So-young still seeking a win on the KLPGA Tour after the COVID break. 6 times a winner, but hasn't picked up any silverware since 2020. So the steady pitter-patter of rain continues to frustrate and irritate all at the Tampines course this Friday afternoon. That weather delay still ongoing here at the Hana Financial Group Singapore Women's Open. So while we continue to wait, let's send it back to some early action from play when skies were a little clearer. Up the hill, should move a little left for Park Ji-young, but just forgot to hit it. So she would know it's just about getting yourself into a position going into the second half of this championship, if you will, where you can attack, put a score together, give yourself a chance. Kim Min-sun missed a real golden opportunity back on 4 a couple of minutes ago. This to pick up a shot here at the par 5 fifth. Oh, and another denied for Kim Min-sun 7. That's a little frustrating. Now, year one finds herself 10 shots behind. A chance to pick one up here at the 7th. I've seen a lot of putts do that through the first day and a half here at Tanamera. Your putt's not travelling to the hole with pace, so easy for the grain to just rip it offline. Good angle here in the 9th fairway for Madar Som. Find the right half of this fairway, does open up the angle to this left pin. And we know the game plan here. Throw it long, try and use that slope. Yeah, very nicely done from Ma. Tanakit at the 8th. Got green high in 2 yesterday. And again, softer conditions for Friday's second round. She'll want to keep this down the right half. She pulls this a bit, she's going to be stymied by some trees. That's okay, but could very well take the attacking in 2 option out of her hands if that's just crept into the rough. It's just a sight that players have gotten used to this week. Planes soaring in overhead, Changi Airport just down the road. You can imagine how it's a bit of a nuisance to have a 747 swooping over your head every couple of minutes, but you get used to it a lot quicker than you think. Look like a much better swing for Park Ji-young. And that's the ideal side of the fairway to be coming in from. Just turn it over a touch, you end up sort of behind those trees. You've got to really hit a big slinging hook to get yourself up the fairway. Now, Madar Som for a closing birdie here at the 9th. Right about pin high left. Still wants to move from left to right on her. It's for 3 birdies in a row to close. Yeah. Unlucky. Still, should she pop that one in? A round of 68. Year one. He missed 1 cut last year. This 21-year-old. 18th last trip out to the Tampines course. Certainly have her eye on bettering that this week, but she's going to need to find at least 1 birdie to be definitely safe going into the weekend. Park Ji-young. Think about the money she's banked in her career. Just under 2.4 billion won. She's only got 1 win. That's a real shame. It's tough when you're past the pin, when you're on the top side of some of these hole locations at Tanamera Country Club. Really difficult to hold some of those putts. Not so much for the speed, but you think about the fact it's so hard to pick out a line and trust a line or read a line. Good analogy is always looking down from a mountain, you see a lot less of the mountain than if you were at ground level looking up. But still, Park Ju-young signed for 70. Go into Saturday at 6 under. Now back to the 6th hole. This is Choi Yun-woo. Very back edge. Pretty flat to start, then works its way downhill from there. Darsong, just a little of this comebacker. Should be inside right edge. Maybe right lip if she just wants to feather this one in. Okay. Nicely holed. Solid round of 68 today for Dasom, who in all likelihood is going to have Park Ju-young for company for day 3 action. Now back out to 8 fairway and Jaravi Bunchant. 23-year-old. Won the 2021 LPGA Thailand Masters. Graduate of Duke University. A couple of good Thai professionals have come from there, particularly Varada Nirapath Pongporn. First Thai member of the LPGA Tour. That's a solid shot from Bunchant. Yeomin has been running laps around the field, but as I mentioned, that was a bogey at the 7th. Oh, this could get close. Yeah, very nicely done from Hwang Yeomin. So that was early action from a little bit earlier on in this second round. Weather causing play to come to a halt right around 3 o'clock local time. It's been just over 2 hours, and hopefully...
Can we please make our way down to the
Yes,
vans and
that's
golf
what
carts?
everyone wanted to hear.
We are
Elliot Gray
targeting a
giving the all clear.
resumption of play at 5:25.
5:25, you heard it from the man himself. We're heading back out to the golf course. We'll get back into position, and day 2 will resume at 5:25 local time. So just in about 15 minutes time, these ladies, 2 hours, over 2 hours after they were called off the golf course, are going to get back out to resume their second rounds here at the Hana Financial Group Singapore Women's Open. Again, it's an opportunity to offer our thanks as Bang Shin Sil and caddy make their way out to the par 3 fourth, to offer our thanks to Tanamera Country Club and everyone in the operations team for doing their level best to provide us with updates and get that course back into shape throughout these weather delays. 3 already here in Singapore, so well done Elliot Gray, Adrian Thung from Tanamera, to Patrick Faisal and Chu Tzu Huang, who've been working tirelessly in operations to try and get us back on schedule here in the second Singapore Women's Open. At least the players seem happy, sufficiently entertained out there. Lots of good food in the clubhouse at the Tampines course, and there's a little fan village just out by the entrance of the car park where the Singapore Golf Association has set up a little get into golf area. Great initiative by Joshua Ho and the team at the Singapore Golf Association, trying to grow this great game in the island nation of Singapore. We're losing golf courses on the island. It's just a fact that most Singaporeans are getting used to, but it doesn't mean that the game should stop growing. They've really put some fine initiatives into place, and it's good to see that more world-class events like this, the Singapore Women's Open, will perhaps pique the interest of some youngsters watching, thinking, you know what, maybe I'll give this game a crack. Even if I never make it out to a stage like this, certainly is a game of a lifetime and one very worth picking up. There's actually a long drive contest going on at that SGA booth at the Fan Village. A couple of good swings. I was following along on social media throughout the course of the last 2 days. Only have so many shuttles out there, so Han Jin Seon There we are. Hello, Han Jun-seon and company. We're just going to wait for their rides out. Of course, Jun-seon, a two-time winner on the KLPGA Tour, successfully defended her title at the Haiwan Resorts Ladies Classic last year at the Haiwan Resort. The stop-start nature of golf in Singapore. Something, unfortunately, a lot of players in this usually sunny island are rather used to. But the good news is we'll be seeing live golf in about 10 minutes' time. So do stick around, and thank you for bearing with us on this rain-interrupted second round at the Singapore Women's Open. 26-year-old Lee So-young. All smiles at the moment. Did come 14th on the KLPGA Tour buddy list last season with just over 550 million won earned. And the 4 runners-up here at the Singapore Women's Open last time out when it was a rain-shortened 36-hole championship won by Park Ji-young. Remember, Ji-young was at 10 under par, the only player at double digits under par through 36 holes. The end of 2022, which counted as the season opening event of the 2023 season. Ko Ji-yu, 21 years of age, 24th on the money list last year. A bit of a non-factor last go-around at the Singapore Women's Open, tied for 61st last year. There is Han Song-yi, the 32-year-old two-time KLPGA Tour winner. Hasn't won since the Phantom Classic back in 2020. Always has a great attitude and wonderful disposition as she makes her way around the golf course. You can see earlier the maintenance team and full force out there trying to dry out this golf course, get some of the debris out of the way with leaf blowers and squeegees. There's a full-on operation to get the Tampines course back into shape for these ladies to try to tackle and tame over the next 2.5 days. Once again, play expected to resume right about 5-10 minutes time, and suffice to say, we're not going to be able to complete everyone's second rounds today, so they'll be setting early alarms tomorrow to get back out the golf course and restart day 2 before we can even make the cut and redraw for day 3. And hopefully we'll be able to get Saturday play underway as soon as possible. Those 60 and ties will make the halfway cut, which at present sits at 1 over par. But it might be a bit of a nervy wait for the likes of Kim Se-ro-mi, Choi Min-kyung and Yoo Hyo-ju. 3 of them done and dusted at 1 over par. But a number of players could yet affect the cut line. Aussie Kelsey Bennett also at 1 over, but she's only played 3 holes and she's finishing on the easy side of the golf course, having teed off on the back 9. Hong Jung-min, a runner-up here as well. Last time out, started her tournament with a triple bogey 8 at the 10th yesterday, but she settled back to be at 1 over par. Unfortunately, you have to say, barring some awful weather, the 2 overs might be packing their bags and leaving the Lion City early. Bad news for Park Geol, Genevieve Ling, who was actually giving a golf clinic to some of the amateurs, some of the young fans at the driving range a little bit earlier, alongside Singaporean Amanda Tan and Indonesian Patricia Waland Sinalungan. Those players at 2 over par. Chen Yu-ju as well, Justice Bosio. Really disappointing pair of 73s for the Queenslander. Gabriella Then, one of the 2 sisters from America who made the trip over to Singapore. There's An Sun-ju, prolific winner all around the world. 17 wins in Japan, multiple titles on the KLPGA Tour, and she had a nice tournament in the 2023 edition of the Singapore Women's Open. It's a big choreographed routine to try to get all these players back into their respective positions and ready for the restart, which should be coming any moment now at the Tampines course. They're just getting set on the sixth hole. Han Sun-ju, Park Do-young and Rian Michaela Melixi. Three of them all going quite nicely in match 25. Philippines 5 under par. Sun-ju and Do-young both 3 under par, and all 3 players bogey-free for their second rounds, which has been interrupted by rain. 2.5 hours since the last shot was struck at the Tampines course. But we're just moments away from getting things back underway here at the Singapore Women's Open. I said one of her goals coming into last year was to be able to defend her title. She checked that one off when she successfully went back-to-back at the Haiwan Resorts Ladies Open. But for Han Jin-seon, the goal that went unresolved was to win a major championship. Of course, there are 5 majors on the Korean Ladies Tour, first of which coming up rather soon. KLPGA Championship at Lakewood. Appears to be the par 3 6th. Always helpful to have a couple of tees stuck in the ground during a weather delay like that. So often I've heard stories of players leaving just a regular ball marker out there, and you get a ton of rain, as we have received here in Singapore this Friday, and you come back to discover that your marker is no longer there. So doesn't hurt. Stick a couple more tees in the ground. Make sure you don't lose the position of your golf ball. That looks like the par 5 5th. And the group just behind that lady, Han Jin-seon, 25-year-old. Just ahead on the par 3 6th. Couple of practice swings required for players. Just want to stay loose here. It's always a little antsy. It's almost like the start of a race. You're just waiting for that hooter to go, and then you're back on your way. After a delay like this, you're almost better off coming back to a full shot, preferably with a full-blooded driver off the tee. At the most uncomfortable ones to come back to usually little fiddly chip shots around greens. Just looking to stay loose. What is Ansongi doing? Just checking out some wildlife here. I've got putter in hand, so doesn't have too much to do. There is your featured group in this afternoon wave: Kim Min Bol, Park Min Ji, and presumably lurking somewhere on that green, the tall frame of Thailand's Nataklita Vongtavilap. Standout year Kim Min Bol had back in 2023, winning Rookie of the Year honours. Aha! It's lights out and away we go. The hooter sounds, but for the better this time round. 2.5 hours after we were called off the golf course, round 2 of the Singapore Women's Open is back underway. Thank the heavens above, and we don't have a lot of time for it. Just about 90 minutes or so before it starts to get dark here in Singapore. So, down to the par 3 fourth we go. Seong Hui will have this for birdie, and she's had 2.5 hours to think about this putt. This 22-year-old turned pro back in the year 2019. Best ever year on the KLPGA Tour last season for Rowe. 22nd on the money list, 15th on the points list. Did have a runner-up finish at the KGE Daily Ladies Open. Slow left to righter for Rowe. Okay, worth the wait. That's a nice birdie for Roe Seong Hui. So she'll go up to 4 under and inch away inside of the top 20. Now Park Min Ji. Five years of age now. 18 KLPGA Tour victories. Yeah, always so awkward coming back after a weather delay. Not quite sure how the greens are going to react, or how they're going to be rolling. This is Ko Ji Yu for her par at the 4th. Breakthrough title came last year at the Nicole Mona Park Ladies Open. She'll skate away and set the stage for a lady who could potentially have her eyes on the top of the leaderboard by the end of play today, Bang Shin Sil. Years of age. 20-year-old, beg your pardon. Already 2 wins on the KLPGA Tour. Takes a big kick off the shoulder of the bunker. That's just going to funnel off the left side of the green. That's not going to be an easy up and down. But now Kim Jae-hee in the clubhouse at 10 under through 36 holes. Shin Sil will be her closest pursuer in this afternoon session. Currently in a tie for second place at 8 under. Ashley Lau, a Malaysian, 23 years of age, from Bintulu, Malaysia, just north of the border here in Singapore. Little drive across the causeway. That one's deep for Lau. That's going to be the green in regulation, but that is by no means a straightforward two-putt. Look at what she's got to contend with. Right. Up to 6 we go, and the hard-charging Rian Michaela Maliksi of the Philippines. From Quezon City. Oh. Tell you what, she's got some game. Won the Australian Master of the Amateurs at the start of the season down under. Young amateur, currently 37th in the world. Now, back to 4 and Lee Ga-young. Both her playing partners going long here on 4, and this one might be heading left for Lee. Ooh, and that is bunkered. Finding the going a little tricky. We'll jump up a hole to Ro Seong Hui at the 5th, and with the softer conditions, the fairway's not running out quite as much. Certainly driver the preferred club of choice for Seong Hui. Right around 240 meters to run through the fairway into the canal. And that's heading left, is it? Ooh, she'll get away with it, but not fancying the lie that she's got left, coming out of some pretty wet, thick rough. Looks like a 3-wood for GU. Can aim it at the second pair of bunkers down the right half as your start line, played as a 3-shotter. So finally, we're back off and running on day 2 at the Singapore Women's Open. A 2.5-hour delay has put us back somewhat. It's a race to beat darkness as Kim Jae-hee continues to lead after a second round of 68 sees her at 10 under par. But she's chased by a quintet of pursuers, including your pre-tournament favourite, Patty Tavatanakit. Not going to be easy trying to judge how this is going to skid off the surface for Bang Shin Sil. That's going to need to hurry. It'll try, but that is going to be to avoid a first drop shot of the week. The 20-year-old big hitting sensation from South Korea. This Japanese course certainly plays into the hands of the longer hitters, the ball strikers, like a Lee So-young, who's got a very different target at the back of her mind today, just trying to make the cut. One outside that projected number as things stand. Pin's cut on the right-hand side of the third hole today. There's water to the right, but not where that's headed. Look at this from Lee So-young. Oh, safe to say, she's going to get to 1 over par in just a bit. Fantastic shot. 5th last season on the KLPGA Tour and greens in regulation. Serving her in good stead here. Now, what do you do if you're Ashley Lau? Got to send it well out to the left. It's slow coming back up the hill. It should start to pick up pace. About 2/3 the way there, and that was almost a full swing from the Malaysian, and it's still not going to be enough. Graduated at the University of Michigan with a degree in economics. Not the most economical way to play the par 3 fourth, I can tell you that. Now back to 3 in Park Hyun Kyung, known as Cutiful on the KLPGA Tour. Ended an almost 3-year winless drought towards the end of 2023 at the Seoul Economics Ladies Championship, and well, there was some tears shed on the 72nd green that week, I can tell you. One of the most consistent players year in, year out, but just couldn't get across the line, and what a weight off her shoulders back in October. Now Lau for par at the 4th. Still going to be slow. Let's power that one through the break. It can happen to you so easily at the Tampines course. Wrong section of the green. 3-putt just round the corner. So Lau back to 1 under. Now, An Song-yi saw her inspecting the agriculture around this 9th green. This for a par. For a birdie, excuse me. And a wonderful way to end the day for An Song-yi. Would have been a little frustrated having to wait so long to just roll that putt in, but she'll be proud of herself. Kept her focus, and she'll go into the weekend at 5 under par. Now, par putt for Shin Sil. To keep her card clean. No. She too gonna drop a shot there at the 4th. Slip out of that share for 2nd place, but still plenty of opportunities coming up for Bang Shin Sil. Seong Hui laid it up nicely, but a pretty long way back into 5. Pin's got in the right half of the green today, so she's got to come over that gaping bunker just short of the surface. Yeah, pretty good shot there from Rowe. Han Jun-seon. Left half of the fairway. Doesn't have to go over the steepest part of that front shoulder, but it's still pronounced. You've got to carry at least pin high. Don't imagine you're going to get too much release on these greens today. Last player in this group, Ko Ji-yu. Much further up the fairway and much tighter down the left-hand side, so she has the best angle of the 3. just a little clumsy with the yardage, and it comes up short. This will kick hard left, so you've got to throw it past that slope. Cannot state the importance of that enough. She's going to stick on the top of the slope, and that's going to be a little testy one. Guyong now at the 5th. Did get up and down from that greenside bunker, so she'll have the honour. Like she does so often, just finds the fairways. Good solid player is Lee Guyong. And sensibly, Bang Shin-sil going with less than driver. Plenty of speed in the game. Led the tour in driving distance in 2023. 262 yards on average. So that creep definitely in play if she catches one with the big stick. Spun out of that a little. Oh, gets lucky. So easy for that to get wedged in one of those bird's nest ferns. It's okay for Shin-sil, but just a little squirrely after that weather break. Now, So Young, an important passage of play here. Brilliant approach. A good birdie. And that's going to take her onto the projected cut line of 1 over par. Still a lot of holes left to play. Now Lau ahead at 5. Thankfully, following Guyong down the middle of the fairway, not Shin-sil into the right trees. Now Park Hyun-kyung, the high point of this 3rd green, right on that little knuckle, so she'll be coming downhill all the way into this little bowl where the pin is today. That range, just got to be content with good speed. So par's not going to hurt the scorecard. So outside opportunity now at the par 5 5th for a birdie. Down a slight ridge. This is going to be a little bit tricky for Ko Ji-yu. She's coming downhill, but again with these damp greens, it's going to be a little bit slower, so you have to hit it harder than you think. I believe this will want to turn pretty hard from right to left in the middle section of the putt and sort of straighten up as it gets to the cup. Just never got that high enough. See the 5th fairway there and back in the distance, just past where that hedge is. That actually is a penalty area. There's a little canal that splits this hole into 2. Bang Shin-sil looks like she's checking if that ball's broken ground. If Indeed, it has broken the surface of the ground, but she will be able to get relief from for an embedded ball. And something you see a lot in this part of the world, soggy conditions, a lot of embedded balls, but it has to be your own pitch mark. And that's number one, and it has to have broken ground, not just have mud on it. While she deliberates that, we'll go up to Roh Seong-hui's birdie look at on the green. That's a good conversion there. Well done. So the birdie at 5 takes her to 5 under par. So Lee Ga-young not going to waste any time. It's just going to be a layup, even though it's a 3-wood in hand for Lee. Got that one fairway bunker on the left-hand side. You can see in the top of your screen there, and she's cleared that comfortably. Stay short. Okay, that is the green side bunker. So be about a 40-yard pitch left for Ga-young. Doesn't look like Bang Shin-sil has been given relief. Quite hard to tell from this camera angle. So if she hasn't gotten relief from an embedded ball, and that is just sitting down in the rough, she's got to be careful with this one. You can see that penalty area about 70 yards in front of her. And this is when you need some speed. Try and gouge it out of this thick, wet rough. You only have to carry this 100 yards to take that creek out of play. Just want to maybe drop that ball back in your stance a little bit, grip down, try and get a little steeper on it. Make sure you catch ball first, and priority 1, clear the water. It sounded like a bit of heavy contact, but back in play for Bang Shin-sil. Going to be coming in from a lot further back than she would have envisaged, standing on the tee. But no harm done. Across to the 6th. Seong-hui with the honour. Just a short iron, but a shot that really can scare a lot of weekend golfers and the members at Tanamera Country Club. Uphill par 3. Pins cut over that front right trap. And sensibly so, just a little long, but that's a good solid shot from Roh Seong-hui. Minji. At those times you're kind of glad that the course received a lot of rain. And that shot becomes so much simpler. Pitching on a severe downslope, but getting it to stop quickly. Jin Seon. No breeze to speak of at the moment at the 6th, but just got to make sure you get it past that pin if anything. Short's no good here. That's going to find the valley in the middle section of the green, so going to be a lengthy birdie look for Han Jin-seon at the par 3. Second on the rookie points list back in 2022. 6 top 10s last year for Go Ji-yu. Shots like that, you can see why. Right alongside Roh Seong-hui on the 6th green. Hwang Jung-mi, former KGE Daily Ladies Open champion. You see there, the projected cut sitting at 1 over par. Jung-mi still with 10 holes to play, but she's found that little round bunker in the middle of the 9th fairway. This should back up. Here it comes. That is going to help the cause for Hwang Jung-mi. Just see the amount of slope in that fifth green, and trust me when I say the front section of that green is a lot easier than the back half, where I'm certainly going to see a pin at least one of the next 2 days, if not both. So Shinsil, a long way back for this third shot, but importantly, she's coming out of the fairway and out of the better side of it on that left half. So it just opens up the angle of the green slightly. Get a shot of around 160 yards here. Oh, that would have looked so good to her in the air, and if not for the downpour, that might have released on, but still she'll happily take it. Chance to recover the shot she just gave up at the fourth. You see that shoulder on the front right of the green to the left of your screen that I was talking about, that can catch the players out if they're not careful. As she now coming off a slight downhill lie, which does tend to flatten out the trajectory of the ball ever so slightly. A beautiful shot from the Malaysian. First golfer from the Michigan University golf program to be awarded Big Ten Player of the Year. First in the university's program history back in 2020. Now, Gai Young, perhaps a little too close to the green, so you've got to throw that club face open, try and release that right hand under the ball. Get it up as quick as possible, and well, that is superb touch from Lee Gai Young. Those can get a little bit awkward. She made that look very simple indeed. So going to be a slow putt from the low point of the sixth green for Han Jin-seon. Looking up a pretty steep slope, which will then kick the ball to the right once it gets over it. Never had a prayer, really. Conditions like these, they really reward good ball strikers, players that can control their distances well, because you don't want to leave yourself too many 50, 60 footers to these pins when conditions are like this. Now, Park Bo-kyum short-sided at the ninth, no green to work with. That's the mistake on 9. You try and get a little bit too cute, leave yourself underneath the hole. You find yourself in that front bunker with just no room to work with, and understandably so, frustration starting to build over for Park. And back to 6 and GU for a birdie 2. Oh, well done. Well done indeed for the 21-year-old Go. Oh, Lee Jong-min, 10-time KLPGA Tour winner. First look at her this week. Going along well. 3 under par, third into the 8th. Can get close to this front right pin. Working off that backstop. Yeah, keep coming. Yeah, it's well done. Last win coming in Vietnam at the Pacific Links Championship, which followed the Singapore Women's Open to start the 2023 calendar. Now Shinsil to get herself back into a share of second. Has she hit it? Yes, she has. Just bounces straight back from that disappointing bogey. Gets herself back to within 2 of Kim Jae-hee's clubhouse target. Now, Just saw Ko Ji-yu hold it from identical spot, so expect this one to scare the hole for Roh Seung-hui. What's the old adage? Never up, never in. Just a par then for Roh. So, par putt. Upcoming for Park Bo-kyum at the 9th. This one will move from left to right. It's not going to be as quick as it was earlier in the day, but still going to be speedy once it hits that ridge at the halfway mark. Good attempt there. That 9th hole, it is a birdie opportunity, but if you're just slightly off, find the wrong side of the fairway, find the wrong section of the green or that front trap, bogey, very much a possibility. Now, Ashley Lau to do what Bang Shin Sil did. And bounce back from a bogey with a birdie here at 5. It's got to be positive with your speed, Ashley. Stay up. Okay, well done. Malaysia bully. That's the first birdie of the day for Ashley. Gets herself back to 2 under par. Lee Jae-young. Birdie look here at 9. Good conversion there. Very well done. Turns in level par 36. Now Gayong for a hat-trick of birdies for this group. Ooh, stay up. No, just always looked a little left for Lee. Lee Jung-min does have a little stutter start with these short putts. That didn't look very convincing, but it finds its target. Lovely birdie there for Lee. Tell you what, if you've got the heebie-jeebies with putting, do not watch Lee Jung-min. You will have nightmares for days. It does tend to work more often than not, though. Now, Lee So-young, just front edge of the 4th. Not the worst spot to be. It's going to be slow. Coming downhill the second half of the putt, breaking from right to left. Oh, back-to-back birdies for Lee So-young. Now she moves to even par for the championship. Well done. That's what I was talking about. It just does look like such an intimidating tee shot at the par 3-6. Yawning bunker short of the green, pin perch just on the other side of it. But you got 7 paces from the front edge to that pin, so there is a bit of room. Understandably so, you want to be looking just a little long and just a little right. As you tug this, you can end up in that little valley where Han Jin-seon was. Oh, it sounded like it hit the green. Almost would have hit the flag. Bang Shin-sil. She's going straight at it. Lovely tee shot. She's got a very Paddy Tavatanakit-like game. Big hitter, stays aggressive, big high ball flight. She's only going to be 1 back in just a couple of moments' time. Ko Ji-yu just up ahead at 7. Trouble down the right of this par 4. I think that one's hitting exactly where she aimed it. A lot of undulation in the fairways here at the Tampines course. Roh Seung-hui just want to keep it inside the line of that left-hand fairway trap. We saw from the bounce of Ko Ji-yu, this fairway does camber from left to right. dear, I think she has found that fairway bunker. It's got a pretty steep lip on it. Not sure if she can get to the green. And that's rolled up towards the far lip. Did unfortunately 3-putt the par 3, Han Jun-seon, so now back on even par. Not the longest hitter on the KLPGA Tour. Outside the top 100 in driving distance, it has to be accurate. And that is the ideal angle that she's left herself. Right half of the fairway. Opens up the angle to that left hole location. And for Bang Shin-sil, be delighted to see that that ball is nestled up to pretty much tap-in range. Have another look at this from our camera at the back of the green. 137 meters. Oh. Throwing darts is the 20-year-old. She led by 1 overnight. She's going to get to within 1. And she taps that one in. Again, Kim Jae-hee done and dusted through 36 holes. A round of 68 completed just before we were called off the golf course at 3 o'clock. And uh-oh. There are problems here for Ashley Lau. Looks like she's plugged it in the face of that bunker. If she doesn't get this one out, it's going to roll back to the base of the bunker, and it's pretty much going to be backwards for her. It's never easy, this. I mean, oh, look at that. It's also so hard to get good leverage on this with a severe uphill lie. Just trying to stay stable. You certainly don't envy her caddy's job of trying to rake that mess when she's done. Hit and hope here. Hit as hard as you can and hope for the best, and unfortunately, what I feared came to pass. That ball travelling backwards down into the base of the bunker, and she's got a lot of work to do all over again. Catch a break like that, it's just about damage limitation now for Ashley Lau. Quickly go back to the 5th and Park Min-ji, her 3rd shot. 6 wins in 2021, 6 wins in 2022. Just the 3 last year. She'll have that to get herself back into red figures for the tournament. It took us a while to get going again this Friday, but the scoring has been good. Bang Shin-sil moments away from getting within 1 of Kim Jae-hee's 10 under par clubhouse target. Now, Big Mama, An Sun-ju. Again going well in the Lion City. This is her 3rd shot uphill into the 8th. Slow, deliberate backswing. Great tempo and a great result for An. Ashley Lau splashed her 3rd shot out to this point. Now with this for a bogey. It's going to be 2 drop shots. And all of a sudden, she has brought the cut line into play with a double bogey at the 6th. Oh, she's got a hybrid out, which tells me she thinks she can clear that lip. It's a risky play for Roh Seung-hui. Got to be perfect here. Oh, she clipped that well. not going to make the front edge, but she's on that upslope, and it's not the hardest chip shot in the world she's left herself. Lee Ga-young just past pin high right at 6, so this birdie putt will be coming downhill and moving to her left. Oh, the putter's behaving for Lee Ga-young. Let one slip away at 5, but drains one from distance at 6 for her first birdie of the day. Yeah, Han Jin-seon coming in with a hybrid into 7, but with the soft conditions, this one should stop fairly quickly. Pretty accurate with these clubs throughout her career. Just can't afford to leak this right. That takes an uncharacteristically firm bounce, and oh dear, that's unlucky. Probably hit the one firm spot in that 7th green, and now she'll be playing her 3rd from the greenside bunker. A pretty big tee shot from Ko Ji-yu. Shot into 7. You can see what I'm talking about. That green does tilt from left to right. Got to make sure you find the high section of this green. And that should stay up. Okay. Just avoids rolling into where Paddy Tavatanakit was this morning. Stick on the left fringe for Ko. Did have a runner-up finish along with her win last year. That came at the Nexen St. 9 Masters. Now Bang Shin-sil. This formality to get herself up to 9 under and 2 under for the day. Great birdie back at 5. A stunning tee shot at 6, and Shin-sil is on the rise. A dozen holes left to play. Just one shot to make up. Now, Lee Jung-min at the 9th. She's at the left side of the fairway, and this is a part of her game that she's leaned on for strength through the years. Really good with wedges and short irons. Licking her chops trying to attack this front left pin. Oof. Should I put the dreaded commentator's curse on her, because that is not a good shot at all. From Jung-min to leave yourself in that front bunker. You just saw Park Bo-kyum drop a shot from. Shin-sil doesn't have to worry about that bunker that Ro Seung-hui was in. She should be able to cover that fairly easily. Cover it. She's flown it by 20 yards. Now, An Sun-ju up at 8. To get herself to 4 under. Being told this is a putt for bogey. So run into some trouble off the tee. Oh no. It is for birdie. Forgive the graphics department, it's been a long day out here. Thankfully for An Sun-ju, a birdie takes it a 4 under par. Don't think we're going to see the same speed or line from Lee Ga-young as Bang Shin-sil. Have to just air down the right half of this fairway. She's ditched the rain pants, Ashley Lau. Perhaps a little hot under the collar after that disappointing double. She's got time. Let's try and pick off a couple more birdies. I said if she wasn't a golfer, she would have pursued a career in law. That's just going to creep into the second cut of rough, but no problems from there. The angle's good for Lau. Now, wide miss from Lee Jung-min. But on this angle, can she potentially try and use that slope? You can see it just past the pin. Takes a brave shot to try and do that. Oh, just a little too far. The idea was there. Takes a brave player to try that out, but my word, that was a wild miss with, I would say, only a wedge in hand for a second shot. It's not breezy out there, promise you. It was a real stinker from Lee Jung-min. Happens to the best in the world too. Now, Roh Seung-hui off this steep upslope, just short of 7 green. Trying to play a little low fizz and run. You tend to see that sometimes after heavy rainfall. That ball doesn't quite check, it skids and just releases on when you think it's going to grab. So work to be done for Roh to avoid a drop shot at 7. Park Min-ji to get herself back into red figures at 5. Oh, just a little too much conviction in that for Park. First time in 3 seasons she finished outside the top 10 on the money list last year. First time she didn't win the money list. Now GU for a birdie. Not this time for Go. It usually gets dark in Singapore just past 7 o'clock. So what's that, 45 minutes away? You feel these ladies probably going to make it at best to the 11th tee. So they're going to have at least 8 holes left to play tomorrow. Might have some players coming back to play 10, 11 or more holes tomorrow as Lee Jung-min looks at this slippery slider for par at 9. Just had to breathe on that to get it down the hill. An errant second is going to cost her a shot. Lee So-young coming off birdies at 3 and 4. Good chance here on the 5th. Easiest hole on the golf course so far this week for the players. Pretty good. Chance for 3 in a row. Now Roh Seung-hui for her par at 7. I always found playing Tanimura, especially in low light like we're having at the moment, these are the putts that I really struggle to read because your mind's always looking, your eye's always looking for break in these kind of putts, but really kind of stay pretty straight. If anything, I'd say maybe this is just inside right half for Roh. Certainly not one you want to start outside the hole and give the hole away. I just don't think it breaks that much. Ultimately pays the price for a poor tee shot. Seung-hui will slip back to 4 under out of the top 15. Park Hyun-kyung just out of the right rough here at 5. Angle's not the best and she'll have limited spin control on this coming out of the rough. He's managed it pretty well. Let's keep that under the branches as well. So, right side of the fairway. Does give you the optimal angle. Should be Ashley Lau first to play. Come third at the Epsom, on the Epsom Tours Wild Horse Ladies Golf Classic like in 2023. I might have expected a jumper out of that line. Just kind of came out dead on her. Still no harm done from there. Actually has 7 dogs at home. Must be a fairly big property that the Lau family have back in Malaysia. Gayong. You want to play this to the full number. Got a pretty firm kick and, well, whatever the number was, she's hit it. Another stunning shot from Lee Gayong. Starting to make a move. ENG tee shot just over the flagstick at 6, now putting down the hill. Scared the hole on a couple of occasions, but hasn't really yielded any birdies for Park. Challenge stalling at even par now. Shinsil, a little bit awkward, ball below her feet, coming out of the rough. Oh, and that might catch the ridge. Oh, there it goes, down the right. So it's going to be a slow, lengthy birdie putt for Bang Shin-sil when she gets up to the green at 7. As the light starts to fade round the Tampines course. Still looking pretty bright and sunny where Kim Jae-hee is, enjoying a one-shot cushion over the hard-charging Bang Shin-sil, 2 ahead of Hwang Yo-min and Patty Tavatanakit here on day 2 at the Hana Financial Group Singapore Women's Open. Always hard to convince yourself to hit putts like this hard enough. Really struggle as it makes its way up the hill. Hyun Kyung coming slightly downhill for her birdie putt at the 5th. I want to just peel to her right. That's not going to stay up. Just a fraction low all the way for Park. Two-time winner of the season opening major championship and the KLPGA Tour, the KLPGA Championship, where Lee Daeon will defend in a couple of weeks' time. Maliksi at the 9th, she's 3 under par today, and she'll be happy if she could 2-putt that to stay just inside the top 10. Top 5 finish at the Women's Amateur Asia Pacific in Thailand last month. Shinsil for a par. Important to consolidate the birdies. He's just picked up at 5 and 6. Don't want to be giving one back straight away. And well, it's been a bit of a yo-yo for Bang Shinsil. Birdie 3 just before the stoppage of play. Dropped the shot at 4. Couple of birdies. Gives one back. So back into that log jam at 8 under par goes the overnight leader. Go GU's second shot into 8. Plays uphill all the way. Framed by trees left and right. A little too far left. No, that's going to be fine. Sublime second from Guy Young. Is for back-to-back birdies. So Lee Guy Young gets herself inside the top 20 at 4 under par. And Maliksi for a par at 9. Of amateurs inside the top 10 at this stage of the Hana Financial Group Singapore Women's Open. Just over half an hour of daylight left here in the Lion City of Singapore, where the KLPGA Tour starts its season for the 2nd year in a row. Park Ji-young, the victor last time out. Kim Jae-hee in pole position at this stage of the 2024 edition, 2 clear of a quintet of chasers. Lee Guy-young just be looking at the bunker on the right half of the fairway as a start line. Getting no run on these fairways at all. I mean, that's almost settled back in its own pitch mark. GU. Left half of the fairway, slight downhill lie. Always makes it a little bit uncomfortable when you're playing to an elevated green. But not much club in hand for Go. They really have been taking apart this 8th hole today in the accessible pin position. These ladies have been taking advantage. Shinsil just has to be wary if she gets this one traveling a little left. Second shot's going to be awkward. Need to keep this up the right half of the fairway at 8. creates such good width at the top of her backswing. Generates so much speed. And well, that is up by the last of those 3 bunkers. And that's almost 275 yards in the air. Seung Hui a little bit further up the hole. Ball's above her feet slightly, which does promote a slight right to left ball flight. You've got that backstop which you can throw it into. Get it to come off that. Doesn't want to use that, leaves her under the hole. So an uphill putt for birdie upcoming for Roh Seung Hui. There's been a bit of shuffling at the top of the leaderboard, but one thing that hasn't changed is the name of Kim Jae-hee, leading the way on day 2 of the Hana Financial Group's Singapore Women's Open. The shadows are lengthening out and around the Tampines course at Tanamera Country Club. Dusk starts to settle in, especially with the overcast skies. It's just getting a little bit hard to see out here for the players. Lee Gai-yong sets up over her second into the par 5/8. She's one of those players that wouldn't want this round to end. She's had it going over the last half hour or so. Back-to-back birdies at 6 and 7. Seung-hui. Pretty slow one from underneath the hole up ahead on the green. This for birdie. Just power that one through the break, unfortunately for Rowe. Just hit the skids a little. Seung-hui. No damage done to the scorecard with that par. For Go Ji-yu, downhill slider to get herself to 6 under. It's going to want to dive right if this isn't hit with conviction. There it goes. It takes a lot of trust in your reads, especially when you're putting from above the hole. You'll have to stall the 5. Shinsil. Don't think she can get home, and oh, she lost this one outright. Got some thick trees over there. It's got to get lucky. It looked to be a ball down the left-hand side of the fairway. Don't think it's Shinsil's. We'll keep you abreast of the situation when we get back to the 8th hole. Shinsil, the player on the golf course, who could certainly cut into that lead of Kim Jae-hee, which has looked pretty ironclad throughout the course of play this Friday afternoon in Singapore. 66-68 for Kim Jae-hee to leave herself on 10 under par at the halfway stage. Where has Bang Shin-sil's ball ended up at the 8th? She's certainly walking right. Hopefully not too far right. It's a 475-meter hole, and as you can see there, it's playing the easiest hole on the golf course today, much to do with that pin position. It's cut at the base of a little slope. So plenty of options for the players to try and attack, get it close, particularly with the softer greens that they're playing into. As long as you've got a nice full yardage, got good distance control, really expecting this to be no further than 10 feet for Lee Ga-young. Sounded a little heavy. Yeah, perhaps it was. Still, decent opportunity for a 3rd straight birdie for Lee Ga-young. Ashley Lau. This some of her other hobbies is cooking, dancing and travelling. Sure gets a lot of travelling done. See if she can dance this one around the pin. She's got to settle down after that double bogey back on 6. It's a good chance to get her feet back under her here at 8. Well, well, well. Double bogey at 6. Hole out for an eagle at 8. Golf is a strange game indeed. Have another look at this one. Well, I said she wanted to dance this one round the pin. It's just fed straight in. Look at that. Couldn't have drawn it up any better from Ashley Lau. 32 birdies on this hole today. You can add an eagle to that tally as Ashley Lau gets herself back to 2 under par. What a shot from the Malaysian. Former top 30 ranked player in the World Amateur Golf Rankings. Yet to win a title as a professional. Last time she lifted a trophy was the 2022 Indiana Invitational on the collegiate circuit stateside. Now Shinsil did get lucky with her second shot. She's just down in that right rough green side. You can see she's pitching from well below the level of the putting surface. Will be landing on a slight downslope. As long as that lie's okay, you can almost play this with an open club face. Try and almost play it like a long bunker shot. Use the bounce. Just turn that chest. Don't get flicky with the hands. And pretty well managed from Shinsil. Although we've seen that putt from Ko Ji-yu, it just slide a lot from left to right. We'll see if Shinsil's up to the task. To say, get this hole done, maybe just be able to get done with the 9th, and they'll have 27 holes to play on Saturday, provided of course the weather cooperates. Forecast for this week has not looked promising, but these players and the tournament committee certainly doing their level best to make sure we get in all 72 holes this week. Now, Gai Young for 3 in a row. Up and out of it quickly, she knew. Just a little push off the putter face. Of course, if they do get pulled off the golf or the hooter sounds for darkness, you do have the option to finish the hole that you are currently on. It's not like a lightning stoppage where you'd have to evacuate the golf course immediately. Not much to smile about for Han Jin-seon so far today, although that could make her Friday evening a little bit better. Yeah, that's the way you get it closer. 9, throw it past with a bit of spin, use the contours to your advantage. Yeah, Bang Shin-sil. So we're doing a little tango on that first page of the leaderboard. Up to 9, back to 8, up to 9, back to 8. This to get herself to that 9 under par mark once again. Even though she's only about 4.5 feet away, there's still about a ball of break in this outside left lip. Very nicely read, very well holed. Bang Shin-sil hasn't made a pass since the second hole, which was, oh goodness, about 3.5 hours ago now, but she won't be complaining. She is on the ascendancy once more on Friday in Singapore. Speaking of Ko Ji-yu, here she is at 9. Would have seen from Han Jin-seon the perfect way to play your approach into this short par 4. Oh dear, and that's a mistake. Coming up short in that bunker. Certainly hope that's not plugged. We've seen a couple embedded balls already today. You'd have to say this is probably going to be the last hole of the day for these three. Ashley Lau, off the back of that majestic hole-out eagle, will have the honour. Just got to be wary of that little round bunker about 230 yards off the tee in the middle of the fairway. The front hole location on the left, you really want to be playing your approach out of the short stuff. Bunker definitely not in play for Bang Shin-sil. And her prodigious club head speed. 264 yards on average last season. There were a couple of 3-woods in there as well. Say probably one of the best swings on the KLPGA Tour. She pitches it on a downslope, and look at the run. That's the greenside trap. She's only 30 yards from the front edge. The hole's 330. Ji-yu barely see the top half of the flagstick from that deep greenside bunker. Don't think she's plugged. In fact, she's played that too well. Chopped the legs right out from under it. It's a game of fine margins out here at the Tampines course. Now Guy Young, last to go. Back on the tee. Just past the tee shot of a 23-year-old playing partner. It's been a long day out here at the Tanamera Country Club. It's going to be a pretty long Saturday as well. Now, just across to the 18th and Park Do-yeon, who's got herself onto the first page of the leaderboard. 3 under par for her round today. Third shot into this par 5. And that one's just going to settle up at the base of that slope. Not bad. She'll have an outside look at a front 9 of 32. Not really where you want to be on 9. Back edge of the green. Almost impossible to leave this putt short. She'll do well to keep it on the green, Roh Seung-hui. Hard swinger from left to right. And the last 10 feet of this putt going to be rapid once it gets over that crest right there. That is wonderful touch from Roh Seung-hui. Really good. Tough to judge the pace, and she did that magnificently. Again, it's just one of those times you're glad you had a big downpour just to slow these greens up a little bit. Not quite as fiery as they've been in the past. That was a couple of moments ago. Now live. Go GU. Coming out of the fringe here. Should move a little off her right. I would say maybe this is sort of 3 inches outside right edge. It's a pretty flat section of the green, really. So certainly a putt you can hit with a bit more authority. This for par to stay at 5 under. Just lost that low. Again, just pays the price for a real sloppy second shot to find that front trap. Pretty good approach from Han Jin-seon, but work not done here. This feels a little uncomfortable because of that slope that she's standing on. The ball's going to feel a long way below the level of her feet. Certainly for a putt anyway. It should indicate that this one will want to dive to the right. Oh, but no mistakes there from Han Jin-seon. Nice birdie there on the 9th. Bam Shin-sil staying hydrated. So important to do, even with the slightly cooler temperatures late in the evening here in Singapore, and with the downpour that we had still. It's pretty warm out there, touching 30 degrees Celsius. It's important to keep your fluids up, keep your energy levels up. This game that requires so much concentration. That's a brilliant 2-putt from Roh Seung-hui. So she too remains inside of the top 20. Now Lau set to play first into this green. Made just under half her cuts on the Epsom Tour last year, the feeder tour to the LPGA. Inside the top 60 on the Epsom Tour money list off the back of 2 top 10 finishes. And from this far back in the fairway, it should be a pretty comfortable full gap wedge for Lau. Just look to land this just past the pin, so kill it into that slope and have it funnel back towards this pin. Just carried it a touch too far, maybe was in between clubs and took the longer one. Saw her abbreviate that follow through, just trying to take some off, and unfortunately just in the wrong section of that 9th green. From where the players are standing, it really looks like that pin is pretty much cut tight to that left bunker. But there's a little room just short of it. Guy just going to find the top side of that ridge as well. And that putt is going to almost break sideways as it gets to the cup. Doesn't she know it? Now, Bang Shin Sil has the luxury of being able to walk all the way up to the green to see what she's got left. According to my calculations, she's hit that 302 yards off the tee. I mean, she did pitch on a downslope, which does tend to help, and got a lot of run. The only thing about this, you can see it right there, it's just a little fiddly. It's a shot that gives your weekend golfers nightmares, a little sort of feel pitch shot. Coming over a bunker to a tight pin. She is on a slight upslope, which will help the situation. Really, what you'd want to do here is, not try and take a short, stabby swing. It's really about just guiding big muscles. Right, so laying that club face wide open. Trying to use the bounce on the sole of your club. It's there to help you. The last thing you need is the leading edge digging here and you laying the sod over it, ending up in that trap in front. She's got a little bit of room past the pin. She would know that. Just try to play this with very quiet hands. Just turn that body. Easy to do though, just you could see that little extra acceleration at the bottom of the swing. You look up and all you see is sand between you and the hole. Tends to happen every now and then. So no gimme 2 putts for the 3-ball on that 9th green across to 18. This is a chance to join the party at 8 under par for Park Do-Yun. Oh, she had the line. It was tracking. Just going to come up short for Park. Very good front 9 of 33. The 24-year-old Park Do-Yun. You'd have to say, just given the amount of light that's out there, potentially the last hole of the day for these 3 players. I don't think there's an easy first putt between the 3 of them. Ashley Lau is going to be the furthest away. It's going to be slightly uphill for the Malaysian. Then just as it crests that ridge, it's going to pick up pace and work its way down to the hole. Gai Young's probably got the toughest putt. I mean, she's going to have to almost putt it along the ridge line and just have it fall right with dying breath and then take the contours of the green. No, it's actually Bang Shin Sil who's going to be first to go, and really what she's trying to do is just pick a spot on the very top of that slope in front of her where she wants this ball to feel like it's going to stop. It's not going to stop, obviously. You just want to feel like you putt to that spot and then you let gravity take over. could see that. It almost stopped on the top of the ridge and just trundled on down to the hole. I mentioned it's been a little topsy-turvy for Bang, who hasn't made a par since the second hole. Should be more than pleased to walk off with a par here at 9, despite only having about 35 yards left for her second. Now Park Min-ji back on the 8th. Another chance to get herself into red figures. Surely one of these has got to drop for Park. Oh, seen that time and time again. When she gets the putter hot, she can be nigh on unbeatable. Now back to 9, and Ashley Lau looking to send this a little bit further left than Bang Shin Sil's. So it does move hard right if it doesn't have enough pace. Not the worst putt in the world. She'll be putting back uphill. Certainly more comfortable leave than an awkward, squiggly one from the top side of the hole. She will be buzzing after that eagle 3 back at 8. Guy Young just needs to get this one sort of past the hole left to a high point of that ridge, and then it should funnel down. I'll try to jam that one in with speed. Okay, maybe wasn't quite far up the green as I thought. Still content with a par here on 9 if you're not in that little bowl. 108 women contesting this second Hana Financial Group Singapore Women's Open. The cut will be made at the end of the second round, which will obviously be early on tomorrow morning, with most of these players having to come back to complete their day 2 scores. Those 60 and ties will make it through to the weekend. Just under 1.1 billion Korean won prize fund up for grabs this week. Lau for her part, just inside right half with conviction. Yeah, well done. That's a good par. Nicely holed for Ashley Lau. Bit of a roller coaster ride, but will tot up to a level par 36 in her front 9. Now out to the back 9, and Roh Seung-hui. Good tee shot down the middle for Roh. So still a pretty tough layup. Long penalty area that stretches the entire length of the hole down the left-hand side. Got some thick rough in a bunker down the right, and a couple of trees as well. Did that look a little snatchy from the top? Oh, saved it well at the bottom. OGU awfully close to the penalty area. I think she's gotten away with that tee shot, because if she did find the penalty area, that would have had to drop it a lot closer to that shrubbery. So this is second shot now for go, and she'll just keep that down the right edge of the fairway. Bang Shin Sil. Still got to be careful on these. It's a little knee knocker here. Okay. In with authority. So she is one shot back with 9 holes left to complete her second round. Opportunities await in the back 9, but are we going to see any more golf from them as the sunlight begins to fade here in Singapore? An Sun-ju, cross-country effort at 11. Judged to perfection for the South Korean. Coming off a bogey back at 10, so back to 3 under par is An Sun Ju. Both Sun Ju and Do Young Park being outscored at the moment by this young lady, Rianne Michaela Maliksi, 3 under and bogey free on the day. Just lacked a little conviction, so he'll settle for par at 11. Still at 6 under par, running inside the top 10 as things stand. What a weekend she has ahead of her. As some of the aesthetic lights down the 9th and 18th holes start to come on. Obviously, it always looks a little brighter than it actually is when you're watching golf on TV. The iris, the lens of the camera can be increased in size to pick up as much light as possible, but just looking out my window right now, there really isn't much more in the day as far as daylight is concerned. It's getting a little bit dark and gloomy out there. It certainly will be the last hole of the day for Ro Seong Hui and company. All 3 players in this group under par for their second rounds. Jin Seon 2 under after back-to-back birdies at 8 and 9. Ko Ji-yu at 1 and Ro Seong Hui also at 1 under par. As far as conditions go, it's pretty calm out there at the moment. So it is normally a difficult hole. This par 5 10th, simplified slightly with softer, calmer conditions this evening. Made a good pass at the ball dead at Ro Seong Hui. It's just going to catch the wrong side of that slope and funnel on down to the front portion of this green. Just illustrates that point. Got to make sure you carry it past that little step in the green. That's about 15 paces on. Particularly coming off a slight downhill lie for Ko Ji-yu. Should expect the first bounce to be pretty spicy, even though these greens are rather soft. So important to just carry that little rise. Could get this one close. There's that big first bounce. Read the lie nicely, and she's given herself a look. Surprised by this. They're playing on. This is Ashley Lau back on the tee. The day that will not end for these ladies. Just a 3-wood for position. No sense in hitting the big stick. Unable to get home in 2 on this 10th hole. Shinsu looks like that's a hybrid club out, and I think that's the right play for her. 3-wood is longer than some players' drivers. Well, this one may be leaking a fraction right. Yeah, it's okay. I imagine this is her 3-wood. Well, I'm being told that the tournament organisers are strongly considering a shotgun start once the cut is made, and we've redrawn for day 3. And honestly, as contentious as that topic may be amongst the fastidious golfers among us, that's not a bad alternative for golf tournaments in this part of the world, where weather can be such a big factor. I'd be curious to see if they do pull the proverbial trigger on that, as Han Jun-seon sets up over this here at 10, chipping across the breadth of the green, up and over a little rise. Just never quite had enough steam on it to clear that upslope. Much like Bang Shin-sil, it's been a bit of a yo-yo situation for Han Jun-seon. If that for a par, Park Hyun-kyung, she's going to have at least 10 holes to play when she comes back to the golf course tomorrow morning. It's her third into 8. Already seen a hole out from here from Ashley Lau. That's a pretty good one in from Park Hyun-kyung. See the lights on in the driving range in the distance there. That is the National Service Resort and Country Club, SAFRA as it's known in Singapore, and their Sky Range. See a lot of them in South Korea, but it is getting very dark out here at Tanah. I wouldn't want to play this hole in the dark, the 10th. It's fraught with danger. Ga-young just clips a couple of branches, but that's okay. It's going to be a bit of an awkward hanging lie for her third shot, though. It's going to be slow for Roh Seong-hui, putting up that step. Then he'll start to turn downhill and then move from right to left. There seems to be some debate here. By my guess, it might be that they're either deciding to call it a day, or that ball was oscillating or moving, and just by the way that she's replacing those tees, I think she's decided that, you know what, I'll sleep on this one, I'll have a think, I'll come back and hit this as my first shot tomorrow morning. Right, same too for Bang Shin-sil. That looks like it's going to be it for these ladies, and sensibly so. Really no point in trying to play this 10th hole in really fast deteriorating light conditions out here. Better off to just come back fresh, bright and early in the morning. Play was restarted at 7:30 local time this morning for players that needed to come back, 54 of them in fact, to complete their opening rounds, and it looks like it's going to be more of the same on Saturday morning for these ladies. Of course, they do have the option to complete the hole that they are on, even if the hooter goes due to darkness. Oh. Oh, thank you, Ashley Lau, for relaying that information back. It seems that there might be a storm approaching. Possibly. It's all very confusing out here. Whatever it is, the news clearly hasn't reached Go Ji-yu, who is set to play here up on the green. I don't think it was so much a dangerous situation. Might have just been lack of light, as initially suspected. Regardless, I believe this might be the final shot played. This extended Friday coverage of the Singapore Women's Open. Ko Ji-yu for a birdie at 10. Swing from right to left, and oh, she has absolutely hammered that. And I think that was just a little mental mistake from Ko Ji-yu. Really had no reason to try to complete this hole. She's got a decent look at birdie. You don't want to rush and feel like you want to get in, because your two playing partners aren't going to be putting out.
Finish the hole, or you can stop now. Yeah, up to you.
We want to
Stop now.
you can choose.
Yeah. You can choose, because this is not lightning. This is not dangerous.
We already choose.
There you go. You don't have to stop play per se. No electrical activity in the area. It's just due to darkness. I believe that was Gillian Cook, the Singapore Amateurs' father, Han Cook, volunteering this week, conveying that message to the players. And well, surprise, surprise, Ro Seung Hui is going to putt this one out. The depth perception and your speed putting tends to go first when you struggle to see. Again, I'm just flummoxed by that decision from these players up on the green. They're a little bit slower. Got quite a bit of surface moisture on these greens at 10. And to try to go and putt out, not easy. Same could be said for Park In Kyung at 8, but at least it's a relatively straightforward looking birdie putt. Downhill left to right slider to get her to 3 under. Okay. Safely in the good birdie there at 8 for the part-time KLPGA Tour winner. Oh, no, you are kidding me. Is she going to play? I mean, honestly, what is the point? She's not going to be able to finish this hole, surely, in the dark. It's probably one of the harder, the more demanding holes on this Tampines layout, and you're going to try and play it in 40% visibility out there. This is just bizarre for Bang Shin-sil. I don't think this is the right play at all. Okay. Oh dear, and she's found that fairway bunker. Is that going to be a costly decision, perhaps, when all is said and done this week? We go on here at Tanamera Country Club. Go GU. Well, the comebacker for par ran that birdie putt well past the hole. Oh, but she runs that one in nicely for par. Well, now it looks like a good decision. Start fresh on the 11th tee tomorrow. Got away with one there. Seung Hui. Love for this one to drop in. I just want to creep a little right with dying breath. So should start this on the left edge. No. Again, I think that's just poor management there. Not course management, just management in general. A situation where a caddy should have stepped in and said, look, we can come back tomorrow morning, have another crack at it. No sense in trying to finish the 10th hole today, but you think that's going to be pretty much it for this Friday evening as we tick towards 7:15 local time here in Singapore. The fading light almost non-existent at this point as the floodlights come on around the clubhouse. Still, Kim Jae-hee leads by 1. Bang Shin-sil, her closest pursuer, in the fairway bunker on the 10th hole, with 8.5 holes left to play in her second round. Now Shinsil, she's drawn a decent lie here. Packed at wet sand, lip shouldn't be a problem. Ooh, sounded like she caught that heavy. Oh, back left edge of the green, and you could see there from our TV camera at the back of the 10th green, even with the irises wide open, you could barely see any light. So while she ponders her decisions there at 10, let's take you back and relive some of the great shots and highlights of day 2 action. Why not start with the lady on top, Kim Jae-hee. Threw darts at the pin all day long. Turned in 34, starting on the back 9. Reeled off a couple of birdies. That was her last of 6 in her round. Unfortunately, would drop a shot on her final hole, the 9th. Still signed for a 68. Leaves her at 10 under par through 2 rounds. Hwang Yo-min, she had the hot hand on the golf course Friday in Singapore. Like Jae-hee, started on the back 9, peel off birdies at 13, 14, 16, 17, 18, 1, 2, and that almost an ace at the 6th. How about this into the 9th hole? It was a treacherous pin here on the front left corner of the green. Coughed up a lot of birdies, could give up a lot of bogeys as well, but Jun Yi-sung, at her final hole of the day, played it to perfection. Closing birdie there. 3 on the spin to close. A 67 for her to leave her at 8 under par. Hwang Yo-min would drop a shot at 7, but quickly got it back with a birdie there at the 8th. And I mean, count those up. That was her 9th birdie of her day, with the 9th to come. And what did she do? She'd pick up a 10th. In it went. A low round of the week, a 63 for Hwang Yo-min. Brilliant bounce back after a 73 yesterday. 10 shots the better for Yo-min. Choi Eun-woo was off in the afternoon. It's her 3rd shot to the par 5 8th, and like so many before her, was just throwing darts at that defenseless right hole location. How about this one from Park Bo-kyom at the other par 5 on the front side, the 5th. That one would lead to a birdie for Park. Go Ji-yu. Lovely tee shot into the 6th, and an even better putt for a birdie too that took her up to 5 under. Shin-sil was 1 under par before the weather stoppage. Dropped a shot at 4 and then got it back with that birdie at the 5th, taking her into that share of 2nd at 8 under. And then I think we can safely say that this is shot of the day. Malaysia's Ashley Lau, 2 over par for her round to this point after a double at 6. Got both shots back with 1 fell swoop, holding up for an eagle 3. Back to even par for her day, and 2 under 4. Well, you can see the moon out already as Bang Shin-sil steps over this, her 4th shot into the 10th. She hit it hard enough. It's got to go. It's got to go. Oh, still. Well, she rolls that one in. She's going to feel like she did the right thing in completing this hole in near darkness. I mean, look at that. That's a live picture of the 9th green right now. Floodlights are on, and, well, hopefully Bang Shin-sil pops that one in to stay 1 behind Kim Jae-hee. It's been a bit of a marathon day here at the Tanamera Country Club. It's going to be a long Saturday as well, but it's Kim Jae-hee who leads by 1 at this stage of the championship. We thank you for your company this Friday afternoon. Do join us tomorrow for more exciting action from the 2nd Hana Financial Group Singapore Women's Open. Will we see another 63 like Hwang Yo-min threw at the golf course today? it's anyone's guess. Tanamera proving a stern test for these golfers. Look forward to a thrilling weekend here in Singapore. Until then, this is Timothy Loh saying have a lovely evening and bye-bye for now.